Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So today, I had something else planned, but I'm kind of switching up some stuff because I don't feel too great. Just because I think I'm a little bit sick, or just my sinuses are acting up, and it's just making it hard for me to breathe currently. But instead of finishing up some stuff, because I have a lot of unfinished work in my Procreate currently, but I decided that maybe I'll just sit down and do a sketching session on the iPad. So we're gonna work in Procreate today, and the reason being is that I don't want to add color today. I want to focus just on value and just lines and hatching and stuff. I'll show you guys a quick example. So similar to the one I've done of Bennett and Ito, where I'm kind of focusing on I don't know how to explain this. I probably did erase a lot, but I wanted to focus more on like hatching and line work, or kind of just sketching in general. It's very similar to how I sketch traditionally, except for I guess I erase a lot more digitally. But yeah, I think it'll be kind of fun to do, so we can play around with values and try to play around with shapes and just play around in general, I guess. So yeah, I believe for both of the sketches I did use the 6B pencil. I could be wrong. We'll do a bit of testing here and there, but I really like how it looks, and I think we're going to be drawing people from Knox, which is a VTuber group, I guess, or a wave from Niji-sanji En. So yeah, there's I could finish this right now, but honestly at some point I will. The sweater is definitely making me a little bit tired of working on this piece, and I kind of regret putting this texture on the sweater. So yeah, we'll see if I return back to this. So let's get a canvas going. So I'm just using a normal 5x7, I think 300 dpi. Let's go change my brush. I have like a defaulted kind of like dark muted purple, kind of like almost in the center. It's not too saturated, but not unsaturated, just in case if I do want to change the color later via using the hue and saturation bar. And I think it was 6B that I was using. So you can go ahead and go into sketching. Now I want to quickly check. It definitely looks like 6B was the pencil that I was using. I did have like a preset here for the size, and I almost never put my brush at max opacity, so yeah, let's just get started. So the members of Knox, pretty much all of them have a good significant amount of black, which for me is a good sign, because I love having either black or some kind of darker value that we can work with, because I like building up the value slowly, so it's great to kind of just work with in general. So I think just to ease myself in, I'm gonna focus in on Uki or Alban, and then later on, hopefully, we can draw some others like maybe Sunny, Fulgur, or Yugo. But let's start. I think I'm gonna start with Alban first because I think he's the most comfortable for me to draw. So I don't have an idea technically. I was gonna do something a little bit different as well, where we could just basically do kind of like a brain dump of sketches on a canvas, but maybe we'll just stick with this today. Like I said, I don't really have like a direct plan, because I might just keep extending the canvas as we go. So the good thing about just sketching like this, it is very similar to sketching like traditionally, I feel like, so I do feel very comfortable working like this. I just need to figure out how I want to do this, because I kind of want his leg to be like outstretched. Yeah. See, every time I do full body poses, it takes me a while for me to think of how I want to do this. I'm actually gonna make the canvas also, I think a square might be better, so I don't feel too confined and we can kind of like go everywhere. So let's make this 7x7. Move this one. I'm gonna try to draw Alban first. So anatomy is not my strong suit, but I'm trying to get better at it. So I kind of want his one knee up. Make this a little bit bigger. So yeah, usually working traditionally, I don't, like, I try not to erase too much. Here's an example, actually. I forgot I was working on this last night. But yeah, I start off very lightly, and then I kind of just slowly add in value and stuff. So that's what I'm going to try to do here, but I tend to erase more digitally just because there is a little bit more freedom to do that. So sometimes I like dropping in the hands first and trying to figure out the joints a little bit afterwards. But this one, I don't know how do I want to draw him per se. So let's see how this goes. Drop in an eyeline. I just love sketching with like pencil, so I'm glad Procreate has such a way to kind of almost mimic that look and feel, because being able to sketch like this digitally sometimes is really nice. I kind of want him to face forward more. Or we can make him look to the right. So usually for these kinds of sketches, I would draw actually a lot bigger, because that Bennett and the Ito one actually are a lot larger, just so I can fit more detail without having to lower the size of my brush too much. Sometimes when I'm sketching, or usually when I'm sketching traditionally, I would have like a kneaded eraser kind of just ready. I don't really remember what his earring looks like. So just kind of rough things out. I know it's gonna get bigger as I work on it, because when I add hair, I tend to make the hair a bit bigger. So, luckily we're working digitally, so you can kind of just shrink it down. Maybe I will erase this. There's no rule about like how much you should erase or not erase, so it's kind of like your own discretion anyways. But for me, I just want to sometimes keep a good habit, so if I don't need to erase, then I won't. But if something looks like extremely off, then yeah, I would try to fix it. Let's add a little bit of kind of like wind of some sort. Very much cat vibes from him, so yeah. So let's see. So I'm gonna try to shift his hair a little bit so he can kind of fit with the rest of the movement, but I still want it to read as him. I do have this like official model out, so I have something to reference. His hair's so like fluffy. So cute. Okay, let's get his hearing devices. And I didn't think this was gonna happen. Oh yeah, by the way. Oh, I'll tell it after I tell it. I summoned And I don't know what my pity was at, if it was close or if it wasn't, but I got coaching, so there's someone else I need to start to build and raise up, so that's what I've been currently kind of just taking my time to do, because I was kind of hoping like I would just be able to focus on just getting the friendship for Ayato, and then I could slap whoever else I want onto that team. So right now I have Zhongli and Kokomi, literally just like two big safety nets babysitting the team currently. Gonna white out his body just a bit more. I guess because his coat. So let me see how I can do this. I drew this so big, I don't even know if I can fit other people on this one. So I can't tell if this is just the front of his coat, and then he has like this longer piece. He also has like a cord looking tail. So we'll get that going too. Drop the leg further. See if I can think of a better way to do this so I can also drop in his foot. I think it's because of how I dropped his hip, but this doesn't really work because I need this maybe to be closer. So here's his hoodie, and then like a dress shirt, and his pants are a little bit more like a bit baggier. His shoes are... I wish I did more like shoe studies and stuff. Maybe I'll do that in my sketchbook. Cause what awesome looking shoes. I like it. By adding a little bit of value, darkening up some of these lines so that a lot of these sketchier lines kind of get pushed back a little bit more. Obviously there's one darker eye. One lighter eye. But yeah, shading stuff in really helps to hide the sketch lines too. Oh, I didn't show you guys this early, but if you have the Apple Pencil alongside with Procreate, you can see that you can do this. Is like on its side, you can kind of get this actual grainier texture that's similar to using like the actual side of a pencil. But then if you go back to using mostly the point, you can transition into like the thinner one, which I really like having the option to do that because sometimes it really helps. But because I usually work with a mechanical pencil, I usually manually fill things in. I shouldn't have colored this as dark. Should have left it a little bit more with like a rim. So the reason why I need to push the dark so much is because I need to make a differentiate the at least 3 values of white, gray, and kind of like a black. Okay, let's finish off his hair and then we'll move directly into the clothes, because the clothes is what I like to add value to the most. Just because there's folds, there's usually difference in values and just texture. Yeah, but if you don't want to deal with color, try playing around with values if you can. I also try to darken the actual lines, like the outlines, because I think that also really helps. And I usually do that before I start to shade in, but for some reason I didn't do that right now. Because line weight like this can also help indicate form. This kind of hoodie strings, kind of similar to like those shoelace ones. So usually when I do stuff like this, I would sketch pretty much all of it out. And then I can kind of pick and choose, but right now you can see I'm kind of doing it a little bit backwards. I kind of just did a very simple sketch and I'm kind of filling in the details more as I work. Because I know some people don't like sketching with graphite because it's messy, but if you have access to like digital tools, this is definitely a way to do it. I just love using Procreate because they have such a similar feel to working with traditional medium. Because I think initially a lot of this already comes off of mid-tone, so I really need to push the darks a lot and really reserve the whites. With that being said though, my canvas color is not white because this is white. I just never like working on a white canvas. And like later on we could, technically if we wanted to, if I put this underneath, if we wanted to do like highlights and stuff, that's a possibility. Like this, which I think looks really cool too. Definitely feels like working on like tanned paper or toned paper. So also when I'm working with pure just like value like this, where I'm slowly building up value, I like to really establish my dark, like my most dark areas first if I can, because the white of the page is usually the lightest areas. So I kind of just have to focus on filling in the mid-tones afterwards. There's just something very therapeutic about having to slowly build up the values, for me at least. This might be tedious for some others, but sometimes I like repetitive work a lot, so I find it a little bit more therapeutic this way. Sometimes I do this, so you can kind of plan out the values. So sometimes, okay, let me redo that. It's like a simple way to plan out your shadows, and I love doing this for more like baggier clothes if I can, or baggier or thicker areas. I'm gonna fill it closer to the line to be darker, because having a bit of that reflective light on the outside edge will help it give it a little bit more of a 3D look. 17's lean on me. But what else can I catch you guys up with? I'm waiting for the manufacturer to ship out notebooks and stuff. But then also, yeah, I need to work on prints again because there's a convention in May, which means I have about a month to get those kind of sorted out. Clean this up so we can see the letters. This is also just pretty much all black. But yeah, you can see how we go from this to this, or this to this. If I can think of another pose to do, maybe I can draw Sunny. I do find Sunny hard to draw. Even though I love his design, and he's so cute, personality-wise. So for this, because I'm not going to really finish off this edge, I'm just going to put a little bit of value, but then kind of just trail it off. I have the white of his shirt. He does have more like a dress shirt. But we'll just put a bit of shadow in here. It kind of looks like that's his pants, but it's not, so... because we can zoom out quite easily. Let's outline. But yeah, I don't do this all the time. I do like doing this only if I do plan on fleshing out the sketch for whatever reason, just because I do like working in graphite. Because this is still time consuming, but I like the result of it. Like, I like a rendered sketched look. Once I finish this session and sketching. I'll probably sketch in my sketchbook and probably listen to the new Draw Detectives episode, because I'm excited. Covered at the top. Because he does have more angular looking eyes. Obviously this eye is a little bit more darker than his other eye, like I mentioned, hopefully, and I didn't cut out of the video. I always think his hair is quite cute. I think it's because of how kind of like fluffy. He's a little round-ish too. Color this in for a little bit of a gradient. Do the rest of his collar first. Just really darken up some areas. Yeah. Let's do one more kind of fuller one. So let's do... maybe we'll just make a new canvas. And continue to work on it. Now I could draw Uki as an idol. I could draw Yugo as an idol. And I mean that I just attach a mic. There we go. I do have an idea for Fulgur, but I want to do like a painting for his. I could do Sunny. I think Yugo would be fun though. I don't know how I want to draw Yugo. I feel like I've done this pose too many times. So let me think. But I feel like it kind of fits though. Kind of adjust this. Fit what we need. Like I have a general idea, I guess. Okay, let's see how we can do this. Hopefully I can make it look like Yugo. I've never really drawn Yugo all that much. Same with Fulgur and Sunny. Bit of a challenge for me because he does have a more also angular eye shape. Gonna flip this. Eyes are a little off. Every time I do this, the head gets a little bit too big. That's what happens if I don't plan out the head as like a rectangle. So I kind of need to give Yugo a little bit longer of a face, which means I have to move his head up a bit. His hair, he has like kind of like fangs as well, right? I think. Pretty sure he does. I don't really remember. I love his earring. It's like a lightning bolt, but it's like kind of transparent as well. I love his hairstyle. It's so cool. I really wish I could watch more of Yugo's streams. I probably should watch the VODs again. So I feel like it's harder for me to catch his streams because of the time difference. I did catch his Minecraft stream yesterday though. Okay, let's see. He has a choker. Off the shoulder jacket. I think it's on both sides. So kind of like this is where I need to really erase because I wasn't being very light in terms of approaching the hand portion. And I feel like stuff like this is also very helpful to plan out things if you really need to. Like I said, you don't really have to flesh it out the same way I am. And I don't do this for every sketch because it's not necessary. It's just like sometimes I like the end result, what it looks like. So he kind of has one folded side and one up side like this. And he has like belts here or something. I can't really see it, but so you have like belt, which means we can kind of see his tummy or rib cage a bit. I do want to do more like clothing studies in the future though, so I can get better at doing folds. Might need to shrink them just a smidge. So let's make this his knuckles, I guess. We can make the fungo here as well, right? People do this, right? So just like Alban, Yugo has a lot of black clothing. His hair is quite dark as well. His has more of a stark contrast. I'm gonna color this in actually. I'm gonna leave a little bit of shine. I know like Bite's patterning and face is supposed to be on here, but I'm going to not put that in for now. Shade this side in. Like I said, I'm gonna make the kind of the edge here between the two values a little bit darker, so we can have kind of like a little bit of reflective light going around right here, this lower part. So let's shade this in more. So we can try to finish up Yugo's hair and then move on. Glad this pose worked out. Otherwise, I might have been struggling too much. I'm glad I went with something a little bit more comfortable and we kind of altered it along the way. Because I've done this pose quite a bit, where I raise one shoulder up a lot, have the opposite hip, so that your body looks like this. Because that's a really, yeah, kind of scrunching one side. But I love having opposite shoulders and hips. But this is like my standard. I usually raise the right one, drop the left one, and then... Or I guess like it's the opposite, but... So I feel like his sleeves are a bit larger than how I've drawn it. Can't really see his shoulder, so let's color this in, or shade this in completely dark. I'm trying to make the inside of his jacket a lot darker so we can kind of differentiate his body right here with the jacket. So this is gonna fold. Make this darker too. Okay, let's do the same thing here. So I want to make this fairly dark. And I color these in manually. I don't really like drag dropping too much. If I'm just adding in these darker, bigger areas here, just because it's more akin to traditional. Kind of has like a... Reminds me of the newest logo here. I don't really remember what the other one looks. Oh, it's Ian. Yeah, I've struggled to draw Yugo before, so I'm glad this one's kind of working out. dark. You can see I'm not fully coloring it in because I do want to add a bit of like shadow and depth if I can. Then his pants have a belt loop. Imagine having an OC or something like this with this kind of character design. I think it would look so cool. Yeah, but these can be really time consuming. I think it does go a little bit faster when I'm working traditionally because it is much smaller. You can see here I'm being a little bit more nitpicky. So it's mostly on this side because of how I have his body bent. This one's more, at least a little bit more outstretched. I didn't really sort this out. Make up some of these glowing folds. Which is darker than the rest of his jacket, so we're just gonna fill this in completely to have more contrast. I don't know if Saturday's video is gonna be an ASMR video. It did have like white text and stuff on this part, but I'm not gonna bother. That's also this pencil's a little bit more textured. So there's a little bit more gaps, but there's a lot of it which is just me not filling it in properly. Because at this point, because you're sketching, it's kind of like stop at your own discretion. I definitely think it's much easier to do this traditionally. If I was doing this like a little bit more carefully, I would have done it the same way how I did Ito's little metal parts, so that these would read more like shiny, because this is supposed to be metal. But I did not, and I kind of filled in already a lot of the mid-tone in, so there's not really any light hitting it to make it look like it's more of a metallic or metal texture. He's a little derped out. That's okay. Yeah, it kind of looks like bite. So yeah, I think that's it. I'll just show you guys kind of like the time lapse for this one of Yugo. We'll go back to the one of Alban. Had to resize his head several times just because I did sketch the body fairly tiny, because I didn't give a definitive head size for him. And then I had to resize it again because of his hair, because I tend to make hair a lot larger than where the scalp is sometimes. Yeah, just really filling in the values. And then one for Alban. This one was fun. I definitely did widen out his body as we went rather than scaling down the head. Look how cute. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this one because of, I think I just had a little bit more patience than another quick sketch just to make it look a little less empty. I could have just cropped it right here and I think it would have been fine. So I spent more time doing Albans, so we spent an hour and a half on this one. And hopefully a shorter time on the one of Yugo. 55 minutes. Not that much shorter, but still shorter. You can see that these still take quite a bit of time, but hopefully you guys enjoyed today's session, and I'll talk to you guys next time with another video. Bye!